Good morning, Canada. Rise and shine. Great to have you with us. I'm David Menzies, the Menzoid, your fearless warrior of wit, fighting back against the tyranny of political correctness. That's what we're all about, and this is Menzoid Mornings. We have another action-packed show for you this morning, folks, including honkies need not apply. Well, the CBC seems to have foot and mouth disease once again with a recent selective job posting. I have more in today's monologue. It was one of the greatest miscarriages of justice in Canadian legal history, folks, and I sit down with Ontario Freedom Party leader Paul McKeever in the man cave with a case you probably haven't forgotten about. And you won't want to miss this one, an annual event along the Florida-Alabama border. You just got to see it to believe it, but it's all for a good cause. Stay seated, folks. Coming up, it's a case you probably haven't forgotten about and one of Canada's greatest miscarriages of justice. Ontario Freedom Party leader Paul McKeever joins me in the man cave to talk all about it right after the break. Well, Superman has his fortress of solitude, and Bruce Wayne, he's got the Bat Cave, and me, the Menzoid, I've got the Menzoid Man Cave. It's a place we sit back, chill out, talk about the issues of the day, and I'm very pleased to have back in the Man Cave the leader of the Freedom Party of Ontario, Mr. Paul McKeever. Hi, Paul.
How are you, David?
Great to have you back here. By the way, folks, I got to tell you this, just to show you what kind of a guy Paul McKeever is. I had my own personal stash of Playboy magazines that we have as a prop here stolen, and I was whining that one of them was the 25th anniversary issue from 1979. Paul overheard that. He went on eBay. He tracked one down. I don't even have the gumption to ask him what he paid for it. Alas and alack, the replacement copy has been stolen. That's a story for another day. But anyways, when was the last time you ever heard of a politician putting money in your pocket instead of taking it out? That's Paul McKeever. Paul,
anything for the man cave, David.
Anything. And I wish we still had it. Changing gears here, you have produced a superb, I would call it a 10-minute tutorial of one of the greatest miscarriages of justice in Canadian history, i.e. Karla Homolka getting off almost scot-free of the multiple homicides she committed in conjunction with Paul Bernardo, who is thankfully still serving time. It's entitled Helpless Homolka, How Justice Was Battered by Feminist Censorship. What do you mean by that?
Well, what happened was that very early on, Karla Homolka actually had to be dragged out of the house she was living in with Paul Bernardo. I think it's probably because she was still looking for the tapes that she knew were hidden somewhere in the house. Her father has to take her out of there, even though she had been, I guess, hit by Bernardo just prior. And when they come to investigate about him, she gets the feeling they're on to her. She immediately gets a hold of a lawyer who gets a hold of the Attorney General's ministry, and on the basis of, well, I've got some black eyes, I'm the victim of battered wife syndrome, they immediately move into the mode of, well, she's a victim, anything she did is forgivable because she only did it because of being battered. Well, this was not the case.
And Paul, talk about a perfect storm. We're going back to the early 90s, the Bob Rae NDP government in Ontario, and Marion Boyd is the Attorney General at the time.
Yes.
First non-lawyer to assume the position. Basically, I think it's fair to call her a radical feminist.
Oh, easily.
So she's buying what Karla's selling, correct?
Even if she's not buying it, she sees it as supporting that great feminist narrative that all women are victims, all men are rapists, and now she's in the highest law position, even without being a lawyer. She's come from being in a battered wife's shelter, which she ran for a few years in London. Yeah. Now she gets to tell people how to administer the justice system, and boy, is she going to make an example out of men. So she's not going to just administer a system where people get what's coming to them, because Homolka had a lot more coming to her than 12 years. She's going to say, because you come from a class, whether it's defined by race or sex or religion or heritage or ancestry, that we regard as being less than privileged, we're going to give you less than justice. We're not going to make you pay the full piper.
Indeed, in her case, it is, of course, her sex. And Marion Boyd had been on record as saying comments along the lines of, all women live in a siege mentality when it comes to potentially being battered. This kind of rubbish. You'd think that every household, women are getting battered every night by every man.
Right.
But Paul, here's where I can't connect the dots when it comes to this kind of radical feminist dogma. I look at the victim list. Leslie Mahaffey, Christian French, Tammy Homolka, Karla's baby sister. These were the girls that were brutally murdered.
Right.
Who speaks for the woman that actually got murdered? I mean, where's Marion Boyd on that?
Well, this is what's the real trick. I'll connect one more dot for you.
Okay.
Marion Boyd in 2004 was the one who suggested that there be Sharia law in Ontario.
Oh.
So wait a second, isn't this the law that treats women as second-class citizens? That's why it's not really about, women looking out for women. This is, in fact, it has no concern, the Marion Boyds of this world, as far as I'm concerned, and those who are out to hand out less than justice, what they're really trying to do is say, one justice system for, people defined by race, another defined by sex, religion, sexual orientation. Everybody gets a different amount of justice that they have to pay for the wrongs that they do at the price of, we're going to extend compassion to people because, well, you came from a poor group of people, or you came from a group of people with this genetic makeup. So we're going to cut the slack to you at the cost of justice to the victim.
It'd be wonderful if this little 10-minute footage was sent to schools so kids that don't have any knowledge of this case perhaps can get up to snuff. And I'll tell you, it's a cautionary tale. Where does one find it on the internet?
The quickest way to find it is to go to youtube.com/Paul McKeever. You can also see it as a bumper on the two ends of the Gordon Dom dinner, which you can Google for. Gordon Dom dinner, Freedom Party, and you'll find it.
Fantastic. Good job, my friend. Thank you so much, Paul. And folks, it's worth checking out. It's factually, it's bulletproof, and it sums it all up. What a miscarriage of justice led to the freedom of Karla Homolka, which she enjoys today in the sunny Caribbean. Keep it tuned to Menzoid Mornings. More coming up right after this.